Due to the violent, unpredictable nature of individuals in today's society, it must be understood that the methods shown and the products used for self-defense in this video may not work in a given situation. It is the viewer's responsibility to comply with all laws in connection with the use of these products, and it is advisable to keep children and animals away from all of the products. The pepper sprays offered by Help Fight Crime America are extremely powerful police strength sprays. Their use for any purpose other than self-defense may be considered a crime. The use of pepper sprays is not recommended against individuals carrying guns, knives, or other lethal weapons. These sprays must fully engulf the eyes, nose, and mouth of the attacker for full effectiveness. Remember to immediately vacate the area where you have sprayed the pepper spray, or otherwise protect yourself from the fumes. The physical response to these sprays varies from individual to individual. Viewers should be further advised that continuous exposure to the sirens on the car alarm and the home personal alarms will cause serious hearing impairment. Let it be understood that the viewer fully indemnifies Help Fight Crime America and any of its representatives against any and all liability or injuries received from the use of the information or products in this video. Viewer further indemnifies Help Fight Crime America or any of its representatives for any special, indirect, incidental, or consequential damages, including but not limited to the loss of life, limb, personal or business income, physical damages, or any other losses, whether or not foreseeable. Help Fight Crime America will replace any defective product that is still within its warranty period, free of charge.
You are about to experience an excerpt of a dynamic crime prevention seminar. A seminar that is highly recommended by the police and is used to train the staffs of companies such as DuPont, Arco, Prudential, Comcast, Core States Bank, and hundreds of others. Upon the completion of this video program, if you would like this training for your group or company, inform our representative and we will schedule a program for you.
Before we begin this training, I'd like to give you some background as to how we started. Most companies that you see do these types of seminars will go into a company or a group, and there'll be like a police officer or a security person standing behind a podium and explaining what a person should do during a certain crime. There's really nothing wrong with that until the moment of the crisis when that person has to sit there and say, what did this guy tell me to do? I don't remember. Well, rather than have to learn fancy plans and all kinds of karate moves and jiu-jitsu moves and so on, what we're going to attempt to do today is to teach you pre-planning. The way this was developed is we actually hired hundreds of ex-cons, and their job was to go before actual families and sit with them in their home, at the ATM machines, subway cars, parking lots, and actually attack them. Now, that may sound a little strange. Of course, these families were volunteers. But what we did was we let the family deal with the criminal without rules, meaning that the criminal did whatever he really used to do. The ex-con did whatever he used to do, and the family reacted as they thought was appropriate. The problem with that is that a lot of it looked like television. You saw the ex-con knowing what they would do because they grew up learning from the television set, and they thought they knew what to do, but in reality, when you'll see this on film, you'll see that most of us react improperly. So during this film, what we're going to do is let you watch different scenes going down. We'll stop the film at certain points, and when the film fades to black, your role at that point is to holler out your answer and give what you think should be appropriate, and then the film will come back up, and we'll show you the responses, both improper, proper, and so on. Also during the film, we'll be showing you the use of different products that are available in the stores, in the gun stores, how they work, how they should be used, not used, and at the end of the video, you'll be shown in detail by myself more about each of these products so that if you do want to get them either from us or from the stores, you'll at least know how to use them and so on. So again, when the film fades to black, make sure that you holler out your answer, and then the film will come back up and show you what to do. So let's have some fun and begin here.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Everyone is asleep on the second floor.
Honey, wake up. Did you hear that?
What? Leave me alone. Oh, he's hearing things. Oh, I heard that. I'll get Kathy in here. Hurry up and call the cops.
What's wrong, Daddy? Where are we going?
Stay in here with Mommy.
Adam, the phone is dead.
I'll be right back.
No, Adam!
Mommy, I'm scared.
Can you name the 4 things they did wrong? Now let's see how fast you can answer these 4 questions about fire. As soon as you know the answer, shout it out. If you have a grease fire, do you throw water on it? Did you say no? If you have a hot door, do you open it? Did you say no? Do you walk or crawl through smoke? Did you say crawl? If someone catches on fire, throw them down, stop, drop, and... Did you say roll? Why could you answer all of these questions about fire so quickly? And did you notice that everyone agreed? Yet in one of the most common crimes, a house break-in, everyone has different opinions? Because you have been trained about fire since you were a child. No one seems to be training us about crime, yet the likelihood of you being a victim of a violent crime within your lifetime is 80%. That means 8 out of 10 of you who are watching this video right now will probably be faced with violence. That is unacceptable in itself, but to have no idea how to respond is even worse.
I had noticed him right across the street. Now, I guess he tried pretend like he didn't see me type thing, and I was hoping that he didn't see me. So I walked over. I looked behind me and I didn't see anybody. So I'd walked 2 blocks over and then crossed over. I tried making as much of a zigzag as possible. Next thing you know, he's right behind me, and I didn't even notice. I turned around this way, and then when he came over that way, he had pulled me over and threw me against the wall.
One of the things I've been asked over the years by people is about self-defense courses and self-defense overall. And I've never really felt qualified to teach it to begin with, but it is necessary at certain times. So rather than me trying to tell you myself about it, I've asked a black belt onto our video here, and I'll introduce you to him. His name is Danny Miller. And Danny, rather than me get into a lot of information about you, why don't you just give a little of your own background?
Well, I had an interest as a youngster in the martial arts, and started probably when I was 17 or 18, started studying formally the martial arts, and have taught at various levels and hold minor degrees in several different styles of arts, and I hold a 3rd-degree black belt in 2 arts.
What does a person do, for instance, if they're actually attacked? I mean,
Well, one of the things that I found, Don, with the teaching self-defense classes, that we would teach, say, an 8 or a 12-week course, and from the following week, they would forget what they learned the previous week. And in a moment of crisis, people forget what they learn, and they revert back to what their mind tells them that they learned a long time ago.
there's a gentleman on TV, on public broadcasting, that tells you walk around with money in your pocket and make it available. So that if somebody comes up to you and they ask you for money, just show them the money, flip it one way, run the other quickly. That works, and it's a very effective thing. The guy doesn't care about your money. He's not interested. He's interested in you, and he's right in your face, and he's grabbed a hold of you. Maybe he's got a gun or a knife. I understand this is difficult in a short period on a film as to what to do, but perhaps you can demonstrate to me, don't kill me now, okay, with 2 or 3 perhaps things that a typical person grab from the rear, grab from the front, distance. Maybe you can just give some insight to the audience in that regard. All right, so I'm this big, mean, ugly dude, and you're just a little creep, and I'm interested in taking you into the car. So I walk up to you, I grab you by the chest.
Yo! There's a lot of things available.
Tell me to be calm now. Go ahead.
It's tough. It's tough in a situation for the normal person to remain calm, but you have to think what's available to you. You got the eyes, you got the nose, you've got the throat, you've got the ears. Anything that's available, you've got the testicles because of
Don't mess with the jewels in my
because
ear.
the front of facing to you. But you want to make sure if he's going to be pulling you in close, and if your hands are free, you have all the things again. Biting, kicking, scratching, all those things are fair game. So you can pop the ears, you can drive the nose, you got his hair, you've got his throat, you can drive into the throat. All of those things are available to you.
Does it matter where on the throat?
Adam's apple. If you ever thumped yourself in the Adam's apple, that's where you want to go. You want to crush the voice box.
Okay.
And again, it's all fair game.
All right, how about if I grab you? Let's turn around here.
Okay?
Okay. So now I grab you from the rear.
From the rear.
Guy comes up from behind you and grabs you, let's just say grabs you around like this, and he's got you hard. Okay, now I'm not being nice to you.
Right.
All right?
You-
And I'm
you-
screaming at you. Get him money, lady. Come on, lady, let's go.
You're going to want it. You want to make sure you're protecting your throat because he's going to be squeezing. He's going to be squeezing tight. He's going to throw it. You got to scrape and a stomp down the shins with the heel, down the shins and on top of the foot. You teach that in your seminar. The top of the foot is like the bones in your hand. Doesn't take a lot of pressure to do that. So when you grab here, you've got the you're gaining your air. You've got to scrape and stomp down in the foot. If you can turn into him to where you've got his throat, you can squeeze his Adam's apple. Again, you've got his hair, you've got his ear. You know, whatever is available to you, because you're not going to remember all the moves that you've been taught. You know, when your adrenaline starts pumping.
How about if he starts with me 5 feet back? Okay, so now we're much further out of the scene, and he's not in my face. What do you recommend we do
Okay, again, if you have the ability to flee, you want to flee. Because you're not going to have the strength or the knowledge to handle the attacker. If he's 5 feet away, you want to get in an unopposing defensive posture, something where you're going to be able to defend yourself, but yet not seem threatening to him. Smile at him. That's he's not going to be expecting that. Again, remaining calm and when your adrenaline is flowing is really tough to do. But being in a position where you can defend yourself without being threatening to him. You don't want to make a threatening move to where he's going to initiate the attack.
Okay, let's do this. You're a 110-pound female, and I'm a 220-pound guy, and you were in that position. Go back into that position you just in, and now you're coming after me. What would you do with this hand?
With this hand here, again, if he's going to try and strike me,
Here I come.
if he's
I'm
gonna
about
strike
to
me,
do this.
You're going to want to defend yourself as much as you can. Then you're going to go to the eyes. If you have your pepper spray in your pocket, you're going to block and spray.
It's tasty lunch.
Yes. You know, but again, you have to have that spray ready. If it's not in your hand,
It's not in the hand. It's in the purse. The woman forgot to put it where it belongs.
Okay.
The fist comes.
You're going to drive up here, drive to the nose, to the eyes, to the throat.
Whatever you can.
Whatever's available.
And then bolt.
And
then bolt.
Take off.
People ask me, what if this guy throws me in a car? And, I've got to deal with this carjacking. I've actually been thrown into the vehicle. He's overpowered me, whatever. You know, it's nice to say you should, jump out of the car. A lot of people think that. Well, I'd like you to think about something sort of funny about the past. Perhaps you did it last week. Perhaps you did it when you were 7 years old. You know, you were maybe on a long trip and you put your hand out the window and you felt the wind against your hand, and then all of a sudden you turned it sideways and you're flying your hand all around the outside of the car when your car is going 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. Well, you felt the resistance when you turned your hand this way very strongly against the wind. So if you think you're going to open up this car door, which is basically a large sail going 40 miles an hour, open up the car door into the wind and jump out, it's not going to happen. So what in fact do you do? Well, if you have a pepper spray, especially if you have a fog type, which puts out a gas very quickly, if you have a pepper spray and the guy's got you in the seat of the car, offer him money, just like you're going into your bag and say, listen, let me give you some money. And even if you don't want to take it out because you're afraid he may see it, just set it off inside your bag. Now what this is doing is it's filling that car up almost instantly with a gas. Obviously you'll be overcome, so don't get in that position. And by the way, don't do this when you're going 40 miles an hour. Try to do it when the car is really slow or stopped. So you've reached in, you set it off, but before you set it off, you know what you're going to do. Hold your breath. Close your eyes and shoot it. Within a second or so, the whole inside of the car is filled up with a gas. What occurs here very simply is he's overcome, his eyes slam shut for a good 30 to 40 minutes. He's not really going to be able to do anything. And at that point, you can get out of the car. Hold your breath, close your eyes. Remember that. If you're not able to do that, then think about this. If he gets you to the other location, to the secondary location where he wants to take you and attack you or hurt you or kill you or whatever, and you know that if you get in that car, close to 99% of the people ever actually put in a car never live to talk about it, you need to do something. So if you're a last resort, why not just at an opportune moment when the car is going 30, 40 miles an hour, plant your feet firmly on the ground and lunge towards the steering wheel and yank it down for your dear life. Because what you're doing by yanking it down is you're causing the car to veer off in this direction quickly. Centrifugal force is throwing his body against the wall. You, of course, don't do this into a 16-wheeler. Try to hit into trash cans, into over something that you can hit a wall. In other words, somewhere where you can cause the car to have an accident and hopefully not get killed at the same time. You're walking down the street and you need to use your pepper spray. We've talked about being prepared, not being surprised. The problem with most people is they really don't know how to use a pepper spray. In fact, you may have seen on 2020 years ago, they had 12 women come out of a supermarket, and they were told that between the supermarket and their car that they were going to be attacked. Well, literally all 12 women were told this. They all had 4 attempts to use their spray and get it in the guy's eyes, and that's a total of 48 attempts. Not one of them got it in the guy's face. And the reason is that most people take a spray, they come up and they use their right arm or their left arm, whichever hand they are, and they go right to the face. Well, the guy's obvious reaction is going to be to try to remove or push it out of the way. It's a natural reflex, especially this guy's used to fighting and you're coming towards his face with something. He's going to push it out of the way. So the best way to use it, first of all, let me show you the wrong way. And on this film, you're going to see, let's look at this woman now. She's bringing the spray up, and as she brings it up, because it's coming up into the guy's face, he's taking it, he's pushing her arm out of the way, and she's now not able to use the spray. If she had done the same thing properly, she would have decoyed, as you'll see here. She would have decoyed with the opposite hand. He goes after that, and immediately the spray comes right up the center of the body, like this, right up the guy's nose. So even if the guy's wearing glasses or whatever, what he's done, what she's done is she's enabled herself to decoy with the one hand, using the spray coming up on the other, and she got the guy. That's the way a spray should be used.
Did you know that tear gas has no effect on criminals that are high, drunk, or psychotic? How likely do you think you are to actually engulf someone's whole face with this thin stream, especially outside in the wind? Take a look at how this police-strength street fogger works. This is an actual fogger in action. You can instantly stop more than one person by fogging them with this wide-angled fogger and running. The fog slams their eyes shut for about 20 to 30 minutes, causes them to gasp for air, plus it identifies them with an invisible ultraviolet dye that lasts for days after the crime.
It was pretty unbearable. I mean, it felt like both my eyes were being, seared with hot irons, like red hot irons. It was really, really painful. I couldn't breathe. My nose was running. All the mucus was coming out. I tried to open my eyes a couple times, and I mean, as soon as I just barely got them open, the pain was intolerable. The most important thing to me was getting it off. I just never thought it could be that bad. And I mean, if I was really trying to get the person who sprayed me, I wouldn't, that became irrelevant very quickly.
What is the safest way to carry a purse? If you put it on your shoulder and across your chest and it is grabbed, you may get dragged to the ground while he is wrestling it away from you. Remember, he is willing to hurt you to get what he wants. Just hanging from your shoulder makes it an easy target. If it is out of sight under an outer garment, he is more likely just to grab someone else's purse, since yours is hard to grab and run with. If your purse is snatched, is there a way to get it back? Yes, with a personal alarm attached to the bag.
Okay, let's look at ATM machines. Let's watch this woman use an ATM. Is this you walking up to the ATM machine? you put your purse down, and you're looking for your card, and you finally find it, and you take your card and you plug it in, and then of course you put your PIN number in, and you choose which account, and you choose how much money, and the whole time that you're doing all this, you're looking at the machine with your back to a possible attacker. Well, what he's doing is he's watching you this whole time, positioning himself, and now watch what she does as she finally hears the money coming out of the machine, meaning that she's done her transaction. See how she turns to look? Well, why doesn't she just put a little blue light special on her head and say, hey, come get me. You know, the money's here. Come get me now. So what she's done wrong is she's always kept her back to the guy, and at the last moment when the money was actually coming out, she turned around to look, giving him the signal to come now and attack her. Well, had she done this properly, what you should have done is when you walk up to the machine, obviously don't use an outdoor machine if you can avoid it. And most of the time you can, just don't be lazy. Go to an inside of a store. But if you absolutely can't, take your card, and the second that card is sucked into the machine, instead of standing there looking at the machine, turn around with an attitude and keep your eyes out. For a moment, turn around, put your numbers back in the machine, turn back around. Keep your eyes on the behind you instead of in front of you. This way the guy never really has a chance to come up on you unexpectedly. The last minute when the money's coming out, he hasn't had that chance to come up upon you, and frankly it takes an average person 2 to 2.5 minutes to do a transaction, and he will sit there and, trust me, he will wait for another person to stand there and give him the signal. So that's how to use an ATM most appropriately.
If you're walking to your car and a guy with a gun demands
Lady,
your
give me your keys
keys,
now. Come on.
how can you get away safely and keep your car from being stolen? Immediately give him your keys and do whatever you have to do to break free and run. Put your door lock key on a separate ring with bogus keys. When he gets into the car, he won't be able to start it because he doesn't have the ignition key, your house keys, alarm keys, etc.
Okay, well, what happens if the guy comes up to you at a light? Since, let's say you're driving and the guy comes up to you at a light, and out of the blue, he comes up to you, he's got a gun pointed in your face, and he's screaming at you to get out of the car. Well, if you get out of the car, it's possible that he could push you back in the car. If you're fortunate, he drags you and throws you out, but again, you got the kids, and this time your key's in the ignition. So I'm just going to give you some simple advice. A guy comes up to you at any time, anywhere around the car, and you're feeling threatened, floor it. Now, you may think from television, well, he's just going to shoot me. Well, he might shoot you. But let me tell you something that you probably never heard. A trained police officer who is constantly on the range learning how to shoot, literally in a real street battle with guns, if he shoots 4 shots at a criminal in an actual street scene, and the guy is 10 feet away from him, these are real statistics, 3 out of the 4 shots that trained police officer shoots misses his target. Now that's a guy right in front of him, basically standing still or just moving a little bit, and here you are in a car, suddenly flooring it and taking off. The chances of this guy actually even getting to hit the car anywhere are not very great, let alone getting it exactly where you are. And even if he were to get you, the chances of him actually shooting you through some kind of a vital organ are very, very slight. Bottom line is this. Guy comes up to your car, floor it. Just get yourself, if you got to run over a mailbox, do it, but get yourself out of the scene. When it comes to keeping your car from being stolen, let me illustrate a point by using you as the audience. Everyone in the room, if you would stand up. Come on, everybody get up and stand up together now. Okay, everybody up? Okay. Now, I want you to think about the past. Remember, I'm not asking you about what you think you should do, or you will do, or you ought to do, or you think you might do, but what I'm asking you now is about what you did in the past. You were walking out of a mall. You were in town. You were at a ball game. You were at the movies. And out of the blue, you hear a car alarm ringing. Now, if you were the person, and remember I'm asking you about the past, and by the way, we're not talking about in your home or on your block or on your street or in your apartment complex or whatever. I'm asking you about away from your home. When you heard the car alarm go off, if you were the person who immediately turned, looked, went over and walked up to the person and said, hey, is this your car? Can you prove to me this is your car? Or you were a little nicer about it and you said, are you having a problem with your alarm here? Perhaps I can help you out. In other words, either of those is a confrontation. If you were the person who went up and confronted the individual, or you were the person who immediately picked up your cell phone in your car when you heard the alarm go off, or you ran to the security at the mall, or you went to a payphone, or you ran into one of the stores and you said, hey, this guy out here is stealing a car. So here's the question all at once, and everybody keep standing until I ask you this. In the past, away from your home, you heard an alarm, a car alarm ringing. If you were the person who either immediately called the police or found a phone or a security guy, if you did that, or if you were the person who went up and confronted the guy, if you did either one of those two things, I want you to keep standing. If you did nothing, I want you to sit down now. Okay, so why did almost everybody or everyone sit down? Because car alarms are going off all the time. So do car alarms really work? Well, sure, they really work, but because they're going off all the time, people don't pay attention to them, and besides, really, people don't want to be involved. They don't want to confront the guy. You know, they're afraid for their own safety. Well, in my car, I not only have a steering wheel locking device, but I also use an inside the car alarm. And the way this works is it literally mounts right on the steering wheel, and when you clamp it around the wheel and you turn the key on, what it's doing is it's actually got three things that happen right away. One, you have the blinking lights on the top, the two little lights on top. So this guy looks in your car, right away he's seeing there's some type of an alarm system. Two, when he gets in your car and sits down, when the unit goes off, this thing is so overpowering inside of a vehicle that he's not hanging around in there. So it's literally driving him by pain out of the car. At the same time that it's going off, there's a mini strobe. Now, I'm not talking about like a strobe like you would see in a nightclub. I'm talking about a mini strobe that's flashing in his eyes. So think again from the criminal's perspective. He's in your car. He's trying to get out of there. He hears this overwhelming alarm going off. He's got light blinking, like flashing, like, this is me, it's me, look at me. And everyone outside the car is seeing this flashing light also. He's not interested in being the star of the show here. So what you're doing is you're making it difficult, and you're driving him as best you can out of the car. And some people have said, well, why can't he just take a hammer and beat the garbage out of this thing? Well, he can. There's no such thing as an infallible car alarm. But I will tell you that as he hits it, even though it's tight on the wheel, it actually moves away by spinning backwards. It makes it very difficult to deal with this issue. The guy's not hanging in the car. It's not only overwhelming him in the car, but everyone around the car is hearing it also. So these are very, very effective devices.
It was a normal day at the office until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I got a call that my house had just been burglarized. I went to the house to find that the police were just finishing their duties there. What I did find out was that my neighbor across the street had gotten suspicious when she saw 3 guys at the front of the house, one of which went to the back of the house, came back, got the other 2, and all 3 went around back. So she became suspicious and called the police. The house was unoccupied at the time. I was at work, my wife was at work, and the kids were at school. Luckily, they were only in there for 5 minutes, so that not too much was stolen, but I quickly realized what the word ransack means, because it did not take very long. The police did catch one of the trio. The other 2 got away. Approximately, I'd say about 3 hours after that, I was talking with my neighbor because it bothered her that she saw 3 people go in the house, but only 2 come out the front door, which was visible to her. I explained to her that 2 came out the front and 1 came out the back, but it really bothered her. So I decided for my own peace of mind to search the house. I went to my son's room, which was at the furthest end of the house, and much to my amazement, the first closet door that I opened, there was another pair of eyes looking back at me.
How do burglars get into locked doors? Unfortunately, there is no real way to stop this except for barricading yourself into the house with steel bars, and even this is not always enough. How do burglars get into locked windows? Most of the time, they simply slip a putty knife between the window frames and slip the latch. If they can't get the knife in, then they pop a small hole with an ice pick in the glass and push the latch open. If you've ever seen a BB hit a piece of glass, you know it doesn't break it. It just pops a small hole in the glass and it's virtually silent. To fix this, you can drill a hole from the front frame partly into the back and insert a nail in the hole. If you want to sleep with your windows partly open, drill a second hole a few inches above the first, and your window can't be opened further without breaking it. How do burglars get into sliding glass doors? They simply take it out the same way you put it in, only they do it from the outside. They lift the door, which disengages the lock, and either push it into the house over the bottom track or slide it open. To fix this, put a nail through the track and into the sliding door. Or put wood above the door that slides. It's during the day and everyone is home. If you are suddenly attacked and your family members hear you and the criminal screaming, what should they do? Have a code that will alert your family as to what's going on. The person who is attacked would naturally be screaming. By making this scream your emergency code, everyone knows not to enter the scene and become a witness. Then that person should pretend to faint. In order to stop the criminal from any further action, someone should fog towards the area where you are being attacked. As soon as they hear the criminal's coughing, they know he also can't see, so they immediately get up and feel their way out of the house. If they can't make it before they have to take a breath, they will be coughing too.
Here's what the more experienced criminals really do when they're breaking in. They're not interested in having the police arrive in the midst of their crime. So what they literally do is right before the scene, let's say it's 2 o'clock in the morning and they know that the break-in's at 2 o'clock. At 5 minutes of 2, one of them will pick up a phone or have an accomplice do this and call in a horrendous crime, a shooting, for instance, at let's say a 7-Eleven or a Wawa or something. And this scene that he's calling in is going to be 3 miles north of your house. So where do you think the cops are going immediately is to that scene at 5 minutes of 2. Well, at the same moment, no, not at the same moment, 2 minutes later, about 3 minutes of 2 in the morning, 2 miles, 3 miles south of your home, you've got another criminal or the accomplice who calls in another crime, this time, say, at an all-night bowling alley or something else where the police are going to have to respond. Well, when there's a shooting, where there's one of these bar brawls or one of these things where there's activity, that when you're dealing with guns and so on, the police are going in this direction. Now, you're sitting here, you've got a break-in about to occur, which you don't even know yet, and the criminals have taken the police this direction, the criminals have taken the police in this direction, and then your break-in occurs. Well, this is a very, very common occurrence. In fact, we have police officers that we work with a lot in our trainings, and they'll sit there every time I do a seminar and talk about this, and they're sitting there and shaking their head because it happens to them all the time. Well, just ask yourself a question. At 2 o'clock in the morning, how many cops are on in your town where you live? Ask yourself another question. When the crime actually occurs, and the cops have gone this direction and the cops have gone that direction, are you really prepared at that moment to take care of your family? Because you need to. You need to have a plan that'll work for you at that moment.
Honey, wake up. Did you hear that?
What? Leave me alone. I'm always hearing things. Oh, I heard that. I'll get Kathy in here. Hurry up and call the cops.
What's wrong, Daddy? Where are we going?
Stay in here with Mom.
Adam, the phone is dead.
I'll be right back.
No, Adam.
Mommy, I'm scared.
Shh, honey. Daddy will protect us.
Hey, put that down.
Now, what are the 4 things they did wrong? First of all, they had nothing to give them an early enough warning that someone was in their house. A barking dog is the best early warning device. Keep your dog away from the doors so he doesn't get shot if the guy comes in anyway. Why not lean a metal folding chair against the door at night? When the door opens, it falls with a loud bang. Or insert these ear-piercing alarms on your doors. No one will ever surprise you when these alarms are on your doors. This one has a delay timer, so if people come in after you go to sleep, they can let themselves in and turn off the alarm with their private code. The second thing they did wrong was being caught with a dead phone. Keep your cell phone or a phone on a separate line next to your bed every night. Since they're breaking in anyway, they simply take the phone off the hook and then immediately unplug the handset so you never hear the sounds. The third thing they did wrong was bring everyone into the master bedroom. The guy who is willing to come into your house while you are home is usually high, has a record, is willing to hurt you, and is looking for money and jewelry. He knows that most of it is usually in the master bedroom. In a 2-story house where everyone sleeps upstairs, get out of the master bedroom and bring everyone together into the slowest to rises room. Get out if you can. But if the criminals are still coming towards you and the police haven't arrived yet, shoot the home fogger down the steps. Immediately return to the slowest to rises room, close the door, put towels in the cracks to keep the fumes out, and stay by an open window to breathe fresh air. When the police arrive, toss them your keys so they can open the door and the house will air out in a matter of minutes. The home fogger will clamp their eyes shut for 20 to 30 minutes and force them to find their way out of your house. In a ranch or apartment, don't leave your room. Since you are on the same floor with the criminals, they could see you going across a hall to get everyone together. If the criminals are still in the house coming towards you, and the police haven't arrived yet, shoot the home fogger from your room toward the criminals. In a house where people sleep on the upper and lower levels, as in a Cape Cod or bi-level house, people in the most immediate danger are those on the first floor. If they are old enough, they should have a home fogger. If not, they should sleep with the doors closed in case someone shoots the home fogger. The fourth thing they did wrong was going to investigate the noise. If you hear a noise or your alarm starts ringing, never go down to investigate or shut off your alarm. Why should the father never have gone down the stairs? What are the 3 things he didn't know? He didn't know how many criminals there were. He didn't know where they were. He didn't know if they were armed. Bottom line, never confront a criminal.
Now let's look at this from the criminal's perspective. He comes to your house, he hears your dog barking, he hears your alarm go off, he sees your chair fall or hears your chair fall, whatever it is. If he's willing to come into the house anyway, what are the 3 things that he doesn't know about your family? Well, he knew that the police may have been called. He knew the family was awakened, and if you have a loud enough alarm or dog, that the neighbors, may have called the police. But the 3 things he didn't know about your family were he didn't know how many of you were home, he didn't know where you were, and he didn't know how you were armed. So it's best to have something to alert you immediately if somebody comes in so that your plan is immediately put in place. I hope you've learned a lot from this training. As you can see from all the discussion and the shots that we've shown you of actual scenes, and pre-planning is key. Pre-planning is key. I can't say that enough times. You really need to take the time to show this video to your entire family and share it with your friends. The point being that with a plan you have an opportunity to really not outsmart the criminal, but outthink him ahead of time so that his plan doesn't go down real well. At this point, I'd like to help you to decide which security products that I've shown you, again, whether you get them from us or you get them from the store, would work best in your instances. Because most people say, well, what do I need, or how many of this or how many of that? So let me work with you now and try to help you through that portion. As I described to you each product, what I'd like you to do with the forms that you have is I'd like you to take your form and fill in the number or the quantity of what you need. Now again, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily getting it right this moment. But you see, what happens with us many times is a person will watch this film or they'll see us at a seminar and they decide this is a good idea and they say, you know what, I'm going to go home, I'm going to talk to my husband, my wife, and they go and they think about it. Well, the truth is, and I know this from the thousands of seminars that I've done, is that most people go home and they don't want to think about this isn't fun, so they forget about it. And then 6 months or a year and a half later, their neighbor gets, their house robbed or something happens, and all of a sudden, they immediately want to get some protection, and they remember who we are, and they get their forms out, and they call us. Well, that's fine, except what we do on the phone is we go over the same thing. We reiterate the same things that we're doing now. So if you could take your form, and where it says quantity next to each item, as I go through each item, just put the quantity that you think you need. And if that quantity is 0, then just obviously put a 0. The point is that if you want to get it today, that's fine, you'll know what you need. And if you want to get it in the future and you call us in the future, you'll have professionally been told how many of each item you should have. So let's do that together now as I go through. Each time I ask you to fill it in, just put your number in, and at the end, what we'll do is collect your form, add it up for you. If there's an appropriate discount, you'll be given that discount, and then you decide whether or not you'd like to make the order with us today. Okay, let's start with the house alarms. If you already have an alarm on your house, that means you have a dog. That means that the chair will work for you appropriately. Your dog will bark and wake you up. Whatever it is that you have, then obviously the alarms are not a crucial issue for you. Unless, of course, you wanted to use them for hotel rooms if you travel, or you wanted to use the one on the purse like you saw. If you need to get alarms, here's how to decide how many you need. If you're taking this video home, you've already seen how to protect your sliding door, so you don't need to alarm that door. Think about this. If the guy opens up the door, by throwing a rock through it because you forced him to have to break the glass, that's an alarm. Your windows, we've shown you how to secure your windows. So really what you're dealing with are outside doors that you won't hear somebody come through if they come in the evening. And it's very quiet to get into doors, as you basically have seen. So if you have 3 outside doors, one of them is a sliding door, and you feel comfortable, or you want to take this film home and have somebody else take care of that door for you, then those 2 outside doors, if they're not alarmed, then on your form, write a 2 on the block where it says home personal alarm. If you don't need an alarm, then just put a 0 in that block now. Please do that now so that we can go on. If you're in a situation where people come home after you go to bed, for instance, second shift workers or college kids that come in at 2, 3 in the morning, you would need a protect-all alarm so that they have time to open the door, turn around, push the buttons in on the alarm, and shut it off so you don't have to come down and wake up and let them in. So if that's something that would be appropriate for you, please put that down on the order form now. Here's how to determine how many home foggers you need. One of the things that people, they don't really think about is, they're right away saying, oh, I need one of these for my bedroom. It's better than shooting the guy or being stuck up here or having him come upstairs. That's all understood, and it's pretty obvious that most people need one. What the problem is that you never know when the guy's going to come in, whether it be day or night, And if he does, and you can't get to the fogger that's in your bedroom, for instance, if you were in the living room and your fogger's upstairs, or you're in a ranch or an apartment and it's all the way down in the bedroom, the guy comes in and he's basically right in the room with you or right in your space. You can't tell the guy, oh, excuse me, I'll be right back. I've got to go to the bathroom. At that point, you need to have something available to you. So if you're, let's say, in a two-story home and you've got the unit upstairs in your bedroom, that's fine. But the second unit would be in an area where you're spending a lot of time, like your living room or your den. If your basement is all junk and storage and laundry, you wouldn't need one down there. But if your basement is used as a family room, and the family's down there and you're in the living room, you use the kitchen a lot, and your bedrooms are upstairs, then that would be 3 for you. My own home, I live in a ranch. One end is my living room and kitchen. All the way down, long down the hall is the bedrooms, and my office is in my basement. So if somebody came into my home and I'm down in the basement, and somebody's upstairs and I want to help them, I could help them if it's downstairs, but if I don't have one downstairs, I can't. So just think through your situation. Don't get crazy. You don't need one in every area, every room of the house. But the thing is, if somebody came in, can you get to your fogger before he can get to you? And if not, then you need a fogger in that area. So again, please take the time where it says home fogger to put the number of home foggers that you need on your form in the quantity block now. The street foggers are really easy to determine. I like to think of it this way. How many people in your immediate family, your best friends, your grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, whatever it might be, how many people do you really want to have walk on the street without one of these foggers? They're so much easier to use because of the wide angle that they spray. We've taught you enough how to use them. They're effective. You do know, of course, from the paperwork we've given you that if you do use them, either the home fogger or the street fogger in an actual crime, we will replace them for free. So on your paperwork, next to where it says street fogger, please put the appropriate quantity that you think you need at this time. Let's talk now about the car alarm. When we talk to real criminals about the alarms, we heard over and over and over that they hate the alarms that ring inside the car. And the reason for that is they get in the car and the thing overwhelms them. We're not talking about mild pain here. We're talking about most people can't stay in this area with this much noise for more than 5 to 10 seconds. So by having the layers of protection like we talked about, the steering wheel locking device, one of these loud alarms on your steering wheel, very, very effective for you to use one like that. Sometimes people say to me, well, I've got an 8-year-old car. In fact, they joke with me and say, I put a sign on top of my car, keys and ignition, please steal me. Well, that's sort of funny, but when you think about it, with a guy that has an 8-year-old car or a 4-year-old or 5-year-old car, if that car is stolen, in most cases it's been paid off. And if it's 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, most people don't carry insurance if the car is stolen. They have to have liability in most cases, but they don't have insurance if the car is stolen. So if you're in a position where you've got a little bit of an older car and that car is actually taken, reality is if it goes, you went from no payments to, well, I don't have any money in most cases to go buy a new car, and the insurance, even if you have it, gives you very little. So you're not given very much to go buy a new car, and you wind up having to get yourself a new car, going into your bank account, getting money out, putting down money, and then getting these big payments, all because your car was stolen. What we like most, besides the fact that the thieves just keep telling us they hate these alarms because they can't stand them in the car, is the fact that it's a one-time investment, and it's a very minimal investment for one of these alarms. You don't have to go and get a new one every time you get a car. It just moves from car to car. So where it says car alarm on your form, it would be appropriate at this point to put in the quantity section the number of car alarms. In other words, how many cars do you have that you want one for? Put the number on your order form now. If you think you've learned a lot from today's training, I strongly recommend that you use the Reality Check Planner with your family. The video that you've just watched and that you're watching now really should be taken home. It's difficult to remember all the things that you saw. I recommend to everyone that they purchase this video and don't keep it. Give it away, whether it be as a gift, share it with your family. We have a program in our company where you can actually have us come out and do, I'll just call it a Crime Stopper party, where you can have a group of people and we'll come and show this video to a group of people at your home or at your business. So I do recommend everyone that has seen this film and feels that they've learned a lot, make sure your family gets the same level of education. I strongly do recommend that you pick up a copy of this film. And if you would put that on your order form at this point, if you want one, put a 1 or a 2 or 3 for gifts, and if you don't want one, put a 0. Please put that on your form now. My hope and my prayer is that you'll never need to use any of this information. Unfortunately, most of us will. It's unfortunate that most of us in our lifetime not only will need the information, but also some type of product to protect ourselves. Again, these items are available through us, they're available through the stores, and I really do hope that you not only pick up a copy of this film, but also that some of the products at least to take care of yourselves. At this point, I'd like to just close with this. We have been blessed to be able to have this business, and people take for granted what they've been given, and I just want to give the Lord an opportunity to give the Lord here some real credit. When we started this business, we were flat broke, and what has occurred, we have been in the largest companies in the United States now training this program, and I hope by being able to bring this to you on film that we will be able to continue to make a difference in people's lives. So again, I just want to thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here and do this program with you, and just give him the credit that he deserves. Thank you for watching.